Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
Hi everybody, it's Doreen, and I'm back today with a birthday card, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a birthday card. You can make it whatever kind of card you want. And guess what? We're not going to use the silhouette today. We're definitely not using the Cricut because I'm no longer going to be using my Cricut. So if you've been following my channel, because I've done Cricut videos previously, I won't be doing those anymore. So what are we going to be using today? We're going to be using the Spellbinder Nestability Card Creator Dies. So we are going to be using the A2 Matting Basic A and the A2 Matting Basic B. But don't worry, if you don't have these, I'm going to give you all the measurements so you can make this card along with me. So now, I bet you're wondering what the card looks like since we're not using a die cutting machine. Well, this is the card that we will be making. So come on and join me, and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay everybody, so let's go ahead and bring up the supplies so we can get started with this card. So as I said, we're not going to be using the silhouette today, and we're not going to definitely be using the Cricut. I'm no longer going to be using my Cricut to do cards because I prefer using my silhouette. So if you've been subscribing to my channel because you saw my previous videos using the Cricut, I have decided that I'm going to be moving on. But you don't necessarily have to unsubscribe just because I'm no longer using my Cricut, because the thing about making cards and making projects is using your crafty imagination. So if you don't have a die cutting machine, you can still make some of the cards that I am making and some of the projects that I'm making. You just have to use your imagination. So today's card measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've taken it and scored it in half to make it a 4.25 by 5.5 inch card. Now this card stock is some Recollections card stock. So now my next layer, I am using, or I did use, the Card Creator die, and this is the letter A, and it is A1. So now if you don't have the Card Creator, this measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. As you can see, I put my measurements on the back so I could give you those in case you don't have it. So, and that's going to line up here. Now this is some of the Joann Fabric texture cardstock that I bought an abundance of. So you'll be seeing that a lot until I get rid of it. So let's get some tape on here. And we're going to get tape on our edges. And then I just make my X across here. And then I'm going to just lay this on top of my card. And this is just going to give me like a little 1/8 of a border on there. Okay, so now we're ready to add the next layer. So our next layer we are going to be using, if you have the Spellbinder Card Creator die, this is going to be letter B, and this is B1. And when I give you the measurements like that, when I say A1 and B1, what I've gone ahead and done is label, and I apologize, let me take this out for the glare. I've gone ahead and label mine from the largest to the smallest, so I've gone with A1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. And then on the other side I have the letter B, and B1 through and so forth. So that's what I mean when I say A1 or B1. So this is B1, and this piece measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/4, and this piece is going to go on top of here. Now this cardstock is from this paper pack that is called All About Girl Stack, and this is a DCWV and this paper stack measures 4.5 by 6.5, and these are some of the cardstocks that are in there. So we're going to go ahead and get some tape on this, and then we'll add this to our card. I'm going to move the card out the way for just a minute so I can get the tape on there, and then we'll go ahead and add it to our card. So we'll just lay our layer down here. And then we're going to press down. So there is our next layer. So now we're ready to add our next layer. And this is also from the Card Creator Die. This is letter A4. And I've already stamped my happy birthday already on there because I use my Stampin' Majig to do that. And the color of ink that I have used to stamp the happy birthday is the Stampin' Up! Eggplant Envy. And then for my edges, I'm using my Distress Ink by Tim Holtz, and it's the Peacock Feathers. And that's what I did my edges with. The stamp is from one of the Cricut cartridges that came with the stamp set, and I believe this is the Art Philosophy stamp set. So the measurements are 2 5/8 by 3 7/8, and as I said, this is letter A4 of your Card Creator Die. So we're going to just put this right here in the center, and I'm going to go ahead and get some tape on here, and then we'll add this one to our card. And then we'll be done with adding our layers, and then we'll be ready to add our little embellishments. So we'll just put this, and I'm just going to kind of line this up somewhat in the middle, and I'm just guessing about that. So there we are. We actually have our card layers on our card. So now we're ready to add our next. We do have one more small layer. Now this piece right here is actually what was left over after I cut this layer here, which is your B1. And I had the paper stack is 4.5 by 6.5, so I had this little piece down at the bottom left over. So as I always say, use your scraps as much as you can. So I've gone ahead and taken my Martha Stewart optic dot punch, and I punched this layer out, and I just took maybe about 1/8 of a cut piece off of here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this along here on the bottom, and I probably should have did that before I put this down, but that's okay. Let's see if we can get this up. Well, we're not going to try to take that up because I've already done it, because what I wanted to do was take my X-Acto knife and cut that off on the edge there. But because I've already cut this off, or I'm sorry, I already taped this down, we're going to take a pencil and just mark where I'm going to cut that at. So I'm just going to eyeball this, and I'm going to cut this down like so. And then we'll lay this piece down. But if you're making this card, remember to do that before, put this piece on before you lay this piece down. So I'm just going to take my Tombow adhesive and get some tape along here, and then we'll add this piece to our layer here. And actually I'm going to come up just a little bit so you can see a small edge piece here of where I've added the peacock feathers. So that's it. That's it for our layering. So now let's talk about our butterfly. Now the butterfly is a die, and it is one of the Cheery Lynn dies, and I really like using these dies. And this one is called the Exotic Butterfly Die. Now what I'll do is I'm going to put a link, or actually the item number for this, down in the description bar. I believe I purchased this at a rubber stamp show, but you can go to the Cheery Lynn website and purchase it as well, or you may be able to purchase it somewhere else. I'm not going to tell you where to purchase it because you can just type in Google Cheery Lynn Dies, but I will give you the item number. So I've already put it together using some of my scrap cardstock that I already had, and I've gone ahead and popped it up on the back with some foam tape. So it's going to sit like so. But before I put this down, I do want to add, of course, my bling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my bling and put my bling on the rest of my card, and I'm going to come back with the finished card. Okay, everybody, so I'm back with the finished card, and I've added my bling. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've added some bling along here at the edge of the piece that I put on when I punched it out using the Martha Stewart optic dot punch. And then I've added some bling along here in the center of my butterfly, and then at the top here I've added a rolled scallop flower. Now this is a die, and this is a die by My Favorite Things, and what I'll do is I'll make sure I put the name of the die down in the description bar. Now I did purchase this at Joann.com, but you can purchase it on the My Favorite Things website, and I will put that link down there as well. So now for the inside of my card, I've gone ahead and taken and put my inside sentiment in here, and the way I did this was I went ahead and scanned my Spellbinder die from the card creator, and this is letter A2, and the measurement for that, I'm going to give you that, is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So I scanned that die into my computer, and then I put my inside sentiment, and then once it printed out, I took the die and ran it through my Big Shot, and it came out like this. Now if you don't have a scanner, you can also just go ahead and draw a text box in your software, whatever you have for your computer, and then type in your text, and then go ahead and cut this out using your paper trimmer. So the other thing that I've gone ahead and done is I've also gone ahead and made an envelope, and the paper that I use to make my envelope is by Recollections. It's called the Fashionably Chic. And then I took my envelope punch board, which looks like this, and I punched out after I cut the size, and this is for an A2 card, so my paper size is 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. Now I do know that on your punch board, if you have this, it lists that the A2 card is 4 1/2 by 5 1/2, and technically an A2 card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but I kind of like that it gives you that extra room, so in case you have a card that has embellishments that are popped up like I do most of my cards, it fits inside the envelope. Now I've also gone ahead and stamped out Happy Birthday, once again using the Eggplant Envy by Stampin' Up, and I just use the same stamp that I have here on my card. And then when I cut my original butterfly, it didn't cut all the way through, so I recut it again, and you know I don't like to waste anything, so I just decided to take the one that didn't cut all the way through and add it to my envelope. So that's it, everybody. This is our birthday card that I've made for my sister-in-law, and we didn't use the silhouette. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.